Hello, everybody. We are back for Tuesday Scum and Villainy time. I'm so clearly excited to be here. We've been sharing character stories behind the scenes and telling little secrets and stuff, so I am just like so excited. So we're gonna hop kind of right into this, but I am excited to be back by the whole cast this week. Originally we weren't even gonna stream on this day, and then something on my schedule lit up, and then something in somebody else's schedule lit up, and it has just meant to be. But I'm excited to be back tonight with Trooper and Adelaide and Jason and JB for another episode of the Purloin Code, which uses the Scum and Villainy RPG. I'm going to drop a link just so you guys at home, if you have questions. Well, hello, Ice Bunny. You can check it out yourself. Boo! We're also going to dive kind of right into our little game, which does use a homebrew galaxy set in a place called the Byzanti Capuli system. And this group works for a very secretive guild known as the Purloin Guild, which follows a very strict set of code rules to allow them to do mercenary work of various forms. Their last job left them stranded in space for a period of time. They managed to finagle their way out of this position with the cargo that they needed to retrieve in tow. Unfortunately, along the way, they found out that they had been marked by an assassin's guild through a hard drive they stole off a raider ship. Being the good little guild members that they are, they returned it, the hard drive, all the way back to the colonel, who Hanobi answers to as the level 3 security officer aboard this crew. He took a couple looks at both the assassin's contract that was found, which he promptly deleted, for reasons nobody asked. He just did. And then he found it difficult to remove the hard drive, which quickly spread a virus inside of the military's computer system before he was able to rip it free, and asked them to basically interrogate them, which some people kind of freaked about. And in that panic and in that set of high stakes, the colonel got shot. That's what we'll say. The colonel got shot very clearly in the head, and he died. And it started a strange series of events which led them running out of the military space system, carrying a chunk of computer with a hard drive locked into it. They went down to the cargo docks, hopped a small forklift vessel to their ship, and proceeded to scathe through the Oculus hole before being tracked into space. Some quick thinking got them out of that, and now they're on the most populated space station in the system because they are good little guild members and decided to return the item that they have procured where it was supposed to go. They're going to finish their contract, baby. And upon arriving, a familiar face greets them, one that Hanobi knows all too well. Aya meets you at the docks. This very beautiful and attractive, not human by far, but kind of, you said she was tall, and she had, I can't remember, I remember you said she was tall and she had these kind of long flowing limbs.
Tall, limber, long limb,
yep.
Big eyes, just like a human that's been stretched out a little too far in space.
She sways, as one might imagine her body would as she walks, and she leads the four of you down the gangway where you have parked and locked your ship. She kind of greeted you with a little bit of sass, and it was very clear that she knew Hanobi, though how? You don't know. But she did mention that tonight is the great party. And as she walks you down the gangway, she simply says, "You know, the four of your names are all over my radio. You're the most wanted four in the galaxy, and for good reason. And somehow, you have managed to make your way to the biggest, most important event in all of the galaxy."
I feel like I can't look at her direct. It's like Beyonce, like I can't look at her directly, you know. I kind of like look over at Hinobi, but ask her.
Yeah. Yeah, that's funny.
Exactly what have you heard?
Oh, you haven't heard.
Oh well, we were there, so we've heard, but we haven't heard. You know.
She stops walking.
Kinda.
Yeah, she stops walking, and it's like the energy around her comes to this resounding halt. She doesn't make a sound, no skid marks, nothing from her shoes, but she does turn, and she looks right at Janus, and she says, "And you? They really want to talk to you."
Hey, at least they know it's him and not all of us.
And Dev just turns around for a moment, takes a couple steps back away towards the dock, and
Kind of like lean over.
and he goes back to a dweep derp.
Yeah, he's standing there. He's standing at his post. He's being a good dweeper.
He goes, Dev's like, it seems like we're going to be indisposed a little bit. Could you get repairs started on our ship? We've got some. A whole.
No, that's a lot. It's a Friday. It's the party tonight. I was supposed to meet another Derple in the closet.
Oh, well, could you just run the maybe you don't personally have to do it. I was just thinking, just putting. I mean,
nobody wants to work tonight. It's the party. The party. I don't work on the space station just 'cause.
You work for the party?
Don't we all, my friend? He simply claps you with like a like mucusy. We all work for the party on the shoulder. He says, but you know, it's a few hours. I'll start some stuff.
Just at least put it in the log.
Oh yeah, of course. He
No,
touches...
no. I just meant put it on the queue so that when people have time they can do it.
So I don't have to do it tonight.
No.
He smiles at you like party on, and he simply he gives you a very, very moist, mucusy thumbs up. But you can see he appreciated the little joke you guys had, and he boops you up. He's feeling pretty saucy about the Dwerple he's meeting this evening. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah.
And the responsible stuff being taken care of. Dev comes back to Beyonce. I mean, Aya, and the rest of this.
So, she kind of takes all this in, and she says, so I'm gonna guess by the look on all of your faces that you haven't heard. And I'm gonna guess, because you're all sweaty, that what I've heard is not true.
Well, I'm not sweaty because of that. I'm sweaty because I work on a ship. But yeah, I mean, I reek. Let's be honest.
She goes to say something and then realizes that it's probably, you can see the look on her face. She swallows that one and she says, all of you are unfit to attend tonight's party. And you see that she is wearing a extraordinary dress. Maybe you've just noticed it, or maybe the long limbs were distracting and you didn't realize she was even wearing one of the most beautiful dresses you've ever seen. It's like the night sky, this like deep blue purple color, and it's long as she is, and it makes her look even taller. Kind of hangs on her body with some weight, as if it's made of some kind of futuristic base cloth. And in it, occasionally you see flickers as if there are stars. And she says, this simply won't do. Knowing what I now know, even though you've not said anything, you have told them this is my territory, Hanobi, right?
No. It didn't come up. I turn to them and say this is her territory.
Thank you, Hanobi.
Hey, you can't own a planet?
Less of an own and more of a watch over.
And Dev just like leans over towards Hanobi and says, who is this? What's going on?
He says, yeah, we've been a thing.
Oh, this is the assassin girlfriend.
Oh,
I'm less intimidated now for some reason, you know?
You should
Troubles you.
probably still be intimidated.
She kind of raises what might be considered an eyebrow. It's probably very smooth and doesn't actually have hair on it, but it's been drawn on. And she says, you throw that word around as if it has no meaning.
She didn't mean it.
Ma'am, my name is Wallflower. It is a pleasure to meet you. And he extends his hand.
She takes you in. It's very quaint and cute. And she knows you mean no harm. She puts hers out. Her hand wraps around yours. Her fingers are just as long, mimicking the shape of her body, and she quaintly shakes it.
And having done the proper introductions, he steps back slightly behind Hanovi and just resumes his sort of space.
So, instead of standing on the docks saying such important words, let us find a quieter place and prepare all of you for festivities which begin in less than 2 hours.
Oh.
Don't look so sad. It's a party.
Jeff in the background. Party!
I can't keep a straight face this game.
And Dev just looks like, he just got the worst news as he stands slightly behind Hanovi at the news of the impending doom, the party.
I'll kind of step back, wrap an arm around your shoulders, and just, you look good. You look great. Don't worry about it. You can bring Teddy. It's okay. It's all good. It's good. It's okay.
You know,
it's all right. She's not gonna kill you.
There is a place for, people that carry and have relationships with their droids.
Oh, no, not that.
There's a.
It's not like that. It's not. No, you don't know. Don't talk
It's
to him.
called Circuit.
Okay?
Wow, Hanovi, so blunt. And she looks over. She goes, "It's okay."
Shrugs.
yeah, it's all right. You hear Deep Derp choke when Hanovi says that, as if it's one of those cultural things, and it's very in the bedroom, and it doesn't get talked about very often, but it's there. And she simply says, "Dev, don't let anyone tell you otherwise. If you like your droid."
Well, of course I like my droid. Everyone likes their droids, right?
Maybe tonight, when you have some time, you should visit floor 34. That's where everyone takes their droids.
Oh, well, I
No.
don't want to service my droid, though.
No.
A Circuit relationship is nothing to be upset about.
And you definitely wouldn't service your own droid. Specialist
Well-
does that.
Hanovi chuckles.
And Dev is clearly missing all of this. Missing the entire thing. So I could go get my droid serviced, but it wouldn't hurt my droid at all?
I service the droid. You don't worry about it. Don't listen to her. You can't talk to him, okay?
Come. I have a minute to spare, I guess. I have to assure you look the part.
Hanovi, are you going to ask her why?
Why what?
Why? There's a paper with our names on it.
When we're not on the street.
Right.
Take us somewhere we can get cleaned up.
Right.
We'll talk there. Fair?
Very. And she simply turns and leads you down and into the space station. When you arrive, it is a bustle. This is a beautifully kept place. The floors are squeaky clean. There is no space mold growing in corners. There's no rust damage from moisture created from terraforming and things like that. It is beautiful. And people bustle about, some people carrying goods. It seems that this place is in an unnatural hurry, obviously in preparation for the oncoming festivities. Janus, you would recognize many service people that work in the service industry. specifically because they're made to wear certain uniforms when they're on duty. They seem to be bustling about, carrying food, pushing carts, welcoming and greeting people. And she says, yeah, she doesn't say anything. She simply turns and walks down a few hallways, leading you through this crowd of people. And you arrive in a much quieter corridor, possibly a residential corridor. You're not 100% sure. But she simply double taps a square on the wall, and a door hydraulic slides open. And inside, it seems to be a very quaint quarter. It's meant for a single person. There's some kind of wash station. But it will barely hold all 5 of you. She says, you first.
Hannah takes up like 3/4 of the room.
It is important to me that everyone knows she is much taller than I am.
Like, how much are we talking?
About 6 or 7 inches, maybe.
How tall is he? He's a big guy.
6'2".
He is.
Okay, so she's tall. She's tall.
She's like 7 foot, maybe.
It's like a human spaghetti noodle.
Yeah.
Yeah, right at 7 feet.
Okay. That's not too tall, but seems about right. All right. So, she gestures, knowing that it's going to be a tight fit, but you first.
I'll kind of I can't really give a good enough glance over of this room, for my liking, but I'll kind of quickly check the place out. There's no, like, hidden cannons behind the door that's gonna just obliterate us. You know, she's just doing doing a quick.
You peer in. The space, like I said, is super tight. This looks like a standard issue, possibly quarters for new people on the ship, or a partial stay residents, people that aren't going to stay here for long periods of time. It comes packed with, like, your pretty standard, like, self folding bed, clean water station, a personal shower that stands off in, like, one corner that's really nothing but, like, a single beam of water. And, yeah, and there seems to possibly be another door at the back, a closet, more than likely.
Hanovi will crunch in there and get all the way, like, to the edge. He's the cleanest, I think, of the group at this point, so he'll kind of sit on the edge of the bed and squeeze up so he doesn't take up a lot of room. If she wanted to kill us, she could have done it.
Thank you for inviting us into your home, ma'am.
She lets out a sigh and gestures for you to get in.
I'll go to the back and immediately just, like, open the back door, just checking.
It seems like a closet. It's empty.
There's a small part of me that wanted you to say 4 assassins come out.
Closet assassin activate. No, it's empty except for a few permanent hangers. There's nothing in it.
Do you really live here?
You all
No.
ask a lot of questions.
She would not be caught dead living here.
Psh, she said it's her place.
She steps in and, like, runs a hand down Hanovi's face. He knows.
She probably owns it, but it's not where she lives. Come on, get cleaned up.
Janice, are you hopping in with them?
Right, yeah, a bit more close to Inobi than he's comfortable with, but sure, yeah, he's squeezing his way in.
You're last man, and it is tight. You either have to choose front or back to everybody, as it is just you and now the door, and it slides shut, and she kind of lets out a laugh, and she puts a fingerprint, her thumb, to the wall, and you can't even see it. It just kind of a light underneath the wall scans her finger, and you can feel the entire room detach from something. It, like, shifts and drops.
Where are we going?
Yeah. You fall very quickly for about 15 seconds.
And, like, Dev grabs, like, the bed or something. Like, he tries to do the mom thing, but, like, there's nothing he can do to save his sister at this moment because they're just dropping. So he just, like grabs onto the bed frame, grabs onto his sister. Like, it probably won't help, but, you know.
Yeah, probably too late, too. She says, hold on to something.
Mid drop.
Mid drop, yeah. When she sees you kind of like shake and struggle, and it comes to a very nice kind of feathering, falling, like as if a magnet has caught it to the bottom of it. The building bounces a little bit, and then the doors slide open into what you definitely know is this woman's home. It's extraordinary. It's multi-tier. The upper floors are open loft style overlooking it. Everything seems to be made of some kind of glass replication or high quality like fiber plastic. And there's like incredible furniture. There might be a real wooden table in her dining room. And she steps off past Hanovi, who was first in because it opened on the opposite side where the closet was, and she says, "Well, stop standing there. Come on."
Oh, my.
I take a step in and turn sideways like an usher and hold my hand out like they should come inside.
She
I feel
does.
like I'm making the place dirtier just by existing.
Oh, thank you for inviting us into your home. And he kind of like just he steps in and makes sure he doesn't like touch anything or
Yep.
you know.
Is there
I
any
touch
like
everything as I walk. Like my hand just kind of glides along the wall. Little streak of dirt.
Yeah, it sure enough. It leaves it.
Is there any like side table with like crystal, containers with alcohol in them?
Decanters.
Yes, there you go. That's right. Yeah.
Decanters.
Oh yeah, there's a whole
Gotta
bar.
use the fancy word.
Yes,
Hold your-
yes. She has space decanters. They float. Like, no.
Janice is totally uncouthly helping himself.
She doesn't.
Oh.
She doesn't even care, as if it will replenish itself. And she walks over to the far side. The ground is kind of like a topographical map. Sections of it are lifted by sets of stairs, sectioning off the room. And she walks flawlessly up and down them to the other side, where she clicks a button. And the door to what you might have thought was a room slides open, and it is not. It's a revolving closet. Wigs, suits, dresses, shoes, anything that you could possibly want seems to be hanging here. And she kind of uses a touchpad on the wall to kind of scroll through it. And she says, "This is where my team comes to prepare.
Is your team all as tall as you are?
They don't need to be."
I look at Midge and go like, varying heights with my hand.
She's definitely the tallest, obviously.
Okay. Well, dibs on the shower first, I guess, folks.
Oh, she says, "Don't worry, we have 3 of those. You'll be fine."
Oh, they have 3 of those, Tiff.
Oh.
And a vaporizer if you don't want to actually bathe.
It's true.
Oh, and they have a vaporizer.
And Deb just kind of smiles and nods as if he knows what a vaporizer is, but he doesn't.
Neither do I.
A vaporizer is a laser-driven cleanser that
No, I
when you
know.
walk through, it'll like buzz you up and down and kill all the bacteria on you, but it does it via laser. They only backfire sometimes.
Yeah, but we didn't grow up with those things. It's like when people don't know what a bidet is, they're like, I don't know what this is. I'm just gonna pretend like I know what it is. I don't know what it is.
Oh Lord.
So you guys basically have free reign of her closet. At this point, you're going to need to dress for what seems to be some kind of black tie affair. What do you scrounge together? I see Janice. I'm sure you have a thought in your head as to what you'd like to look like coming out the other side of the assassin's closet.
Right. Yeah. So he definitely picks out sort of like this shiny grey jacket-like thing, with some a bit nicer sort of designer blue jeans, a white shirt underneath, long chain, and that's about as flashy as he gets.
Flashy enough. You do your own style. The fact you come out in a jacket and look that clean. She has one of those really cool, self-styling, face grooming sets. You like put your face in it and you just type in what you want. And it like shapes your beard. It puts your makeup on. All of the above. Yay, sci-fi. And so you come out looking pretty doggone snazzy. Janice cleans up well. What about we're gonna go to Midge. Midge, what do you come out? What do you come out with?
Midge goes through the closet and then doesn't come out with anything. She's wearing the exact same thing that she was wearing, and she she looks at Dev with like trying not to burst out laughing look. And then she looks very honestly and frankly at Aya and then Hinobi. I have never owned a dress in my life.
She stands straight up. I'm sorry. Let me help you. She, as if it is probably the most fun thing that has happened to her today.
And she's an assassin, so you know.
Her fun meter.
I begrudgingly please, like, dear Lord, please.
She like kind of claps and comes over and she says, "Not having worn a dress before, you could go. How about a pantsuit?" She like scrolls and she says, "I love a good pantsuit. A woman in a pantsuit really. This is power, you know." And she kind of like she's like quick scrolling through this thing. The closet's like 3,000. I don't know. What did my notes say? I don't have it open. I think it was like 3,190 something. The 31st century, basically.
I look over at Dev like, what's a pantsuit?
And Debs goes, "Do you remember those
3901.
Do you remember those holovids from the 3120s? There was that really cool actress. Remember, she's the one that was like slightly blue tinted. She would wear these. Oh, she was so cool. Do you remember?
I think she had like that powder blue suit thing.
Yeah.
Oh, she was fine. Yeah, she was hot. Yeah, that was good. That was a good one. Yeah. It's a pantsuit?
She leans over to the touchpad and like holds a finger on it for the first time, and she simply says, "Blue pantsuit?" And the closet like, and it stops, and she reaches in and pulls one out. It is almost perfectly fitted for you. It's meant for somebody of a smaller frame and structure. Nice short cut so it doesn't make you look shorter. And she says, "You're a boot girl." And she reaches over, and this seems to be maybe from a personal section of her. She pulls out a pair of what probably are combat boots, but they have a nice kind of wide sole and a small heel on them. And she says, "This is all you need."
Thanks.
They're bitchin' space
delicately
boots.
take them and waddle off.
Yeah, they're very, very nice black leather, but they look nice. And you, she's like, "I can't wait. This is fun."
It's like draped across like the Shea Lounge.
Yeah, she's like, "I'm having a blast." And then, what about Dev?
Dev just turns to her and he says, "Is there everything in there?"
Not everything.
Could I get a suit with the style of the 3130s?
Oh, wide lapel, thin tie. Yes, of course. As if she's like, "Why that choice?" She boops it in. And it kind of, and again it stops. And she pulls one out. This is a very nice fabric. Definitely not a polyester of any kind, but made of some kind of shiny material.
And it's got like the long skirt, right? Like it's like this sort of like, because it's the 3130s, right? So
correct.
Wide lapel, a skinny tie, but like a really nice sort of long, sort of kind of slightly severe sort of skirt type thing to it.
Yes.
And he's like, "What do you think?"
Oh, I think it. How do you feel?
Oh,
Tell me how you feel in it, is the real question.
oh, I've only seen these things in holovids. It's kind of exciting.
Then you look great.
Thank you. And he's like, he just tries to make sure. He's like, I can't believe it fits me so well.
It's, custom. She means the closet. There's probably something very special about it.
Oh. And he sort of goes off and he's, oh, wait, shoes?
Oh, she looks down, she goes, here. And she passes over a pair with spats on them. The toes are kind of long and narrow.
The 3130s have the best narrow, long pointed shoes.
She goes, it was custom of the time.
And he goes to put on the shoes and the spats.
The Lord
the
being made up
3130s
tonight.
Sure was a thing.
The 3130s, really pointy shoes, also spats. Everyone was wearing long skirts, not A-line.
It's true. It's true.
Oh, jeez.
Oh my god, I'm dead. Okay, and last but certainly not least, what does Hanovi manage to scrounge? She doesn't help you. She knows that this is like your thing.
So, I'm under the assumption because of my vice and because of my relationship with Aya, I may have been here before.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then Hanovi, who has no personal bubble and shame as I, JB, do, will just kind of start undressing as he walks across the room and pushes on a panel on the wall, and the panel kind of slides open into one of those little storage closets.
Uh-huh.
And it has one of his suits already in it.
Nice.
The exact same nice, black, well-made, I think I said...
Is it literally the exact same suit?
It is
essentially?
a Tatratani suit. Yes, the exact.
Oh
So-
my god.
She
Dev
simply
goes bright red as he starts undressing. Like the minute he starts undressing, like Dev just goes bright red and just sort of like turns away.
You see, he's fairly tanned, considering he spends most of his time in space. Probably when he comes here, and he's got kind of a crisscross bunch of scars, like on his back, like he may have been beaten at some point with something. But they're long faded, long time ago. But he'll stop at about the waist when he realizes all of you are kind of taken aback by it.
she's not. She leans forward and says, "You tease me, Hanovi."
And he just holds his arms out.
She says, "I offer you all these clothing, and you still just want to wear that one suit."
He says, 2 suits.
Oh,
I
right.
have this one too. He gestures to the suit he's taking off. And he says, so why don't you tell us while we're getting ready why it is we're marked for death? As he's like undoing the belt.
She almost coughs into the drink she's sipping. Marked for death? What are you talking about?
We all assumed that's what you were saying. Pants go down.
Well,
He folds.
assuming makes an ass of you and me, Hanovi.
He gestures, like, just tell us. You have to know something.
Oh, well, I know what the radios are all a bustle about,
And
but I don't know anything about a marked contract. That's way more interesting than what I know. So why don't you tell me about what you found?
Dev,
Oh,
do you still have the copy?
yes.
Okay.
We're allowed to share? Okay, yes.
Just pauses.
She's an assassin, Dev.
Right. Ma'am, do you have a personal data device?
She
So-
walks over. She just kind of smiles at you as if, what an adorable question. She walks over. She kind of gets up off the couch and like slinks over to you. Gets way too close. There's a stool next to you. She throws a leg up on the stool and pulls her dress up where the slit is, and you see that she has some kind of computer strapped to her thigh that you didn't know was there. And she says, "Right there."
Oh. Yes. Teddy? And like Teddy floats up and he's like, and like, he's like, scrumbles around the back of Teddy. He comes out and gets a small little electronic device and he presses a couple buttons on it and he's like, okay. And he presses a little button, a little laser transmitter goes directly from his device to hers so that it's not actually out in the internet.
Sure. Yeah, it's like a closed network.
It's a closed network.
Yeah.
It's safe.
Yes.
And he just beams this over, and then he puts his device back. And an assassin's contract is beamed over to her device with all of their names on it. You know.
She says, she doesn't say to anything in particular, she just kind of presses a button on set and says, pull that up on the large screen. And a HUD screen just kind of, it like folds out of empty space on the wall. What might be considered a 60 or 70 inch television. It's large and huge. And your contract is in big, big letters now. And she kind of just swipes the air, she like reads through it, and it scrolls, and she says, interesting. And you found this. Where?
Dev looks to everyone else.
I'll shout out from the bathroom as I'm currently changing behind a wall because I
have modesty.
Also, just like look at me, all right. She yells up from behind the wall. Yeah, so we were flying in the around Meridian Prime 3, and we ran into this raider ship.
Mm-hmm.
You can hear like showers going on in the background. Yeah, anyway, so we fought it. We killed the guys, of course, obviously. And went over to the ship, and anyway, it turns out that Purloin Guild. Oh shit. Well, fuck it. Purloin Guild.
She laughs as if she thinks I don't know.
Right. Essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they were like posing as Purloin Guild, or like real Purloin Guild, but they're like moles or something. Anyway, they were out to kill us. That's all.
And I think they weren't actually Purloin Guild, but they had Janice.
Right.
We're passing it off.
He sort of leans over to Dev. Right, mate, I get like she shines his shinola, but how do we know we can trust her with that information?
Oh, we can't. We're just stuck here. I heard that.
She was
I mean, it's cool and all that she gave us threads, but you know, it's just yeah, she is an assassin, and that's an assassin.
That word again.
Is there a more polite term that people use?
There are tons of terms. Nobody
right.
uses that, but all of you. She
Then
says.
it is assassin if you're nasty.
Apologies, killer who should not be named.
Void wards.
His board words are fine. I accept my name, Aya.
Sorry, Kildemort.
Considering the fact that you put a blaster shot through the general's head today, I don't know that you have any means to be pointing fingers, Janice. And more importantly, what I find most interesting is all of you are so nervous when my reports show that they are looking to, how you say, reward you for a job well done.
What? Wait, what?
The report I received, not but an hour and a half ago, says that the military base is currently seeking 4 mercenaries to reward them for killing the insurgent general who placed a virus in the computer of the mainframe there.
I step out on a towel. The fuck?
And the report also claims that Janice was the brave soul who pulled the trigger.
Oh, okay. No, they gotta be joking. No. No.
I love
What?
the fact that Midge found something to eat. In
Yeah.
You got stacks in your shower. That's pretty cool. I've never seen that before.
Right. So what you're saying is, like, I'm a hero.
As if.
I'm not sure what's going on, but the contract, I am a little iffy about how that's part of this. You recovered this from a raider ship. We do not work with raiders. And your name's on it, which means that technically, I have to kill all of you. considering the fact that this is not an actual assassin's contract. It is a
Wait.
fake.
What?
Replication. A dud. She keeps playing with vocabulary terms until it like lands in Deb's face.
But
They told us that it was the fake Purloin Guild contract, and now you're telling us that's really fake Assassin's Guild contract. So,
The
for Winfrey Jeff,
the
what
Purloin
is-
contract was also fake?
Yeah.
and they weren't actual
That's
members.
what they said. We had the tattoo of the guy. They said it was fake.
And
But
this
who-
hard drive, you ran it through your computers.
Yeah, we
Our-
opened it just fine. Well, mostly. Sorry, Deb.
Interesting. Well, I can tell you that's not an assassin's contract. First off, we would never digitize a contract. Most of the time, it's left carved into the back of a dead body and then disposed of. Now, if the guild does business in such manners, I don't know how you found out yours was fake, but was not us.
Ma'am, may may I ask a question?
I don't know. Can you ask a question? You seem to be choking, or you're right. Would you like some alcohol?
No. Is the format proper? I mean, is the language right, or the symbols? What I mean to ask is, would the person or the organization or the whomever who've done this, does this contract indicate that they have seen what your contracts look like before?
I see. She looks at it. She says, no, we don't, like I said, communicate this way. It seems to me that the four of you have been set up.
Question is, by who? At this point, I'll probably be out of the shot.
And when Janice made the bold move to put a blaster shot through the colonel, ending his life prematurely, you turned the tables. You were supposed to be blamed for the virus that they were talking about, but now he is. Either way, whoever set you up got away with what they wanted done.
As he chucks back a drink. Right, so far they've gotten away with it, but yeah, I've got to speak to a friend, and we'll see what we can discern from that information.
Any friend on this place should be careful, Janice. Nobody is friend here. But the party is about to begin, and I cannot be late.
Can I use your restroom, please?
She simply gestures, 3 doors slide open across the apartment on different floors. Help yourself.
There's snacks in this one.
Hanovi, like, is completely naked. He's been naked for a while now. And he slides into this thing that looks like a really thin cupboard, like just big enough to kind of slide in. The door closes and it goes like it comes out through the door, and he steps out and it looks almost like he has a very light sunburn all over, but then he's
Nice. Always there for the show, aren't you, Hanovi?
faster.
Yes.
Okay, can you put that thing away? It's like a weapon, okay?
Deb is just vaguely distracted by Hanovi, but goes to the bathroom.
And she says, well, I cannot delay. Hanovi, come find me. You also owe me a dance. And she looks at the rest of you and says, whatever you do, don't get in trouble. And don't come back here.
I don't even know what your address is, so don't worry about that.
Wait, does that mean we can keep the clothes?
I'm keeping the suit. I don't care
You
about
weren't
y'all.
planning on returning them, were you? They're recyclable.
What?
Recyclable. They are you can... Hanovi, I will be late.
He just nods.
And I hope you enjoy your time. And stay out of trouble. Like I said, this is my territory, and I'd hate to have to be the reason you don't get off this space station.
As she's walking by, Hanovi does the thing where he takes her fingers and kisses the back of her hand.
She lets you, and then she says, you're missing one.
He looks like he hadn't really thought about it. He had taken the bandage off, and it's, been cauterized enough at this point. And he just nods. And he says, I'll wear a glove.
She says, you don't have to. It was done for good reason. And she kind of makes eyes at Janice and then walks away. Leaving out the door, you can hear the little pod like swoosh away, and it drops back down after about a minute, so that you guys can exit. She doesn't seem to be trapping you here. The HUD screens descend when she exits, as if they are probably connected to her in some way. Yeah, and you guys seem to be left in this place. Hanover, you know that this is not actually her apartment. This is more of like a safe house where her people operate out of, and she gives you access to.
Yeah.
It's meant to look like a high-end apartment in case they need to bring clientele and so forth and so on here.
Good cover place.
Yes, it's great cover.
Dev goes to the bathroom.
Anxiety pee.
Midge, why don't
Yep.
you, when you get a second, check and see if we actually got paid for delivery here? If we did, then what she said is true about the Purloin Guild and them not coming after us.
No, that's not necessarily true. Okay, this could be some elaborate trap where they're just like paying us, and they put out the radio broadcast like, "Look at these heroes! There's a group, they get a medal," and they lure us back and then they kill us. So, but yeah, I'll check. I mean, money's good. So.
Right, mate.
Several thousand creds richer when we die.
Yep, right.
Just to satisfy my own innate curiosity, mate. Are you saying that you don't trust your own girlfriend?
I don't trust anyone. He says, like, kind of, almost like he's sad about it, but that's just how he was trained, you know?
That's alright. Spaghetti Noodle's pretty intimidating. She got good suits, though.
And you look so snazzy, Midge. Just like...
I'm just super snazzy. Kate Blanchett in a suit. That's what I'm picturing right now.
Yes.
Just
I am here for that.
Yes. Yeah, I'll kind of like I'm gonna lay myself out like she did on the Shea Lounge, just kind of feeling myself.
Uh-huh.
Pull up my
Leg?
my
First
look
look
like
at
a
the
cat, you know? No, I pull out my space iPad essentially.
Yeah, your teleport HUD. Yeah. All right.
Looking at the balance.
You were paid.
My Pip Boy. That's the word I was looking.
Yes, yes, you were paid. The creds are there. At least, I don't know how the crew handles money. They will deposit individually to each person. But if that's how you guys handle it, if you dump into like one and then spread amongst yourselves, but it does look there is more money in whatever account you are looking at, Mitch, whether it's your personal one or the group account. You were paid for the job. In addition, the back end kind of database that you log into to like handle the business side of things, the HR portal, if you would, when you log in, the job has been completed under the code name that you were given. It is marked off and grayed out as if it is in completion, but there is an active message flashing in whatever messaging system, the coded messaging system that's used with the guild.
Oh.
What is it? What does the message say?
You pop it open. It is from the guild. It has a like digit code at the bottom that you know how things are signed, and it simply says your crew's presence is requested by the guild.
Is there a way? She may not be able to do this, but we'll see. Is there a way for Midge to kind of like backtrace it and see where the original source came from?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll try that.
Okay, great. Let's get our first roll of the night. That is going to be a hacking skill. In this case, I would say you are in a controlled environment. This is not necessarily risky. The outcome can be very great if you actually hack in or backtrace. Whoops, I'm on the wrong thing. Let me show you guys the actual boop. Rolls, not. Okay, here we go.
Extra dice? I don't think so, no.
Right, so I'm going to cheer her on.
Okay.
And, you can do it, love. I know. you. So I'll take a stress.
Okay, you take it and you get that extra die. Nice.
Sure, why not?
Give it a little hoopla from Janice. He's like, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. All right, a 4. You run the digits through the computer. That digit code is normal to the guild, and it usually signifies a series of things, including the person that wrote was assigned to writing the message, so it's like an identification number, the time it was sent, and then the number adds when it was opened, so that they know that you actually received the message and have read it, which you have. When you backtrack and you search through, it does seem to come from the military, like the Purloin Guild computers that are attached to the military base that you left. It seems to come from their, I guess what you would call servers, and through their servers. So it did come from aboard the place that you left.
Seems legit.
It seems legit. You get these messages kind of frequently. Anytime you're called to take on a new mission, they simply say your presence is requested, which usually means show up, get your next mission, hit the road again.
Yeah, I look around and say again. It looks legit. I'm saying it's normal. I don't know. I don't fucking know.
So yeah, I'd rather go to this party and see if I can get in touch with my contact and try and discern if there's a little bit more that we're not privy to, so to speak.
Do you think your contact would know who would try to set us up?
Well, we'll just say they're a broker of information throughout the galaxy. If there's some shady goings on, they're more than likely going to know about it. We'll just say they owe me a favor, and I could probably find out something.
Does that mean Janice exits, leaves?
Oh yeah, So yeah, he'll head out to find.
You take the little room back up and out. The party has begun. You can hear the music, and we watch that scene as Janice kind of steps out of the room and the doors behind him. What do the three of you do after Janice leaves?
I'm gonna turn to Hanovi like, yeah, I know you and Jacques Plube we're pretty close, but yeah, they say he's a bad guy. Is he a bad guy?
He wasn't. We basically pinned it on him when we murdered him. We were supposed to be the fall guys. Instead, it became him. That's what I believe, anyway.
No, that makes sense. I'm just covering my bases.
He hands you a Diet Dr. Pepper Quantum.
Oh, that's my favorite. Thank you. So good.
It's perfectly chilled. Perfectly chilled.
Hanovi is like, he's got his pants, his undershirt, and his vest on. And his vest is that same armor he's been wearing this whole time. That little, like, just stop like a bullet or stab his vest kind of thing. He hasn't put his jacket on yet, but he goes over to the little wardrobe maker thing and kind of types on it for a minute and has it print out like a partial glove with a little buckle.
Nice. To
cover his pinky and his palm and the back of his hand.
Yep. Takes it a second, but this polyfiber printer just like, and it takes it about 5 or so to print it out and to cool, of course.
And
so,
like,
how many places does your girlfriend actually have?
I don't know.
Like, how deep does it go?
Very. She's been around a while. They can age quite a bit longer than humans. So I'm not really sure how long she's been calling this place home. And then he kind of gestures, but they're not hurting for money.
Yeah, clearly.
Hanover, you might know that she's had multiple identities as well.
Yeah.
This might be her 3rd or 4th identity.
She's like Doctor Who, just kind of pops out of it.
Didn't say she regenerated, but sure.
See, he knows these two they're not like country bumpkins, but they're a little more straightforward individuals. They haven't been in this kind of craziness before.
Nope.
So he'll dig deep and sigh as he's putting this thing on his hand. He doesn't really like talking about himself. Being naked in front of people doesn't bug him, but talking about himself. And
That's where it's vulnerable.
he says, I mean, I'm not so far off from where you two came from. Some backwoods place, string of asteroids strapped together, hurtling through space. It wasn't until I joined the Purloin Guild that I ever found any of this. And he kind of touches the suit. And he says, I didn't even have a stitch of clothing myself until the guild took me in. As he's looking to Midge, you know. And he says...
Suits you.
He kind of laughs at the suit joke. And he says, I fell in with Aya a long time ago. On one of her missions, I got in the way. And it got ugly. She left alive and I left alive.
Is that where you got all those scars?
No, that came from Dad. Before he died. But Aya was so impressed she came and found me. And when she found me, I thought that she was going to kill me. But it turned out differently. And he kind of grins to himself, you know. And he's like, I don't know a lot more than you about her. Only what she's told me through time and what I've seen and pieced together. It's how she stays alive. It's how we stay alive. I've not really told you everything about me because it's not how I was trained to be. But thinking we were on the outs with the Purloin Guild, it dawned on me that it may have been better for you to throw me under the bus or out of an airlock than to keep me along. And I'm glad you didn't. I'm just here to help you. It's what I was trained to do, and it's what I've tried to do since I met you.
I look deeply embarrassed. Not embarrassed like embarrassed, but she looks fairly uncomfortable.
Yeah, vulnerability's there.
Yeah. She doesn't do the mushy, you know. Kind of awkwardly pats his. Can't quite reach the shoulder, so just the forearm.
Yeah.
You're all right. A little weird, but you're all right.
Who isn't? He kind of shrugs. Dev, are you okay? Like you're still in the bathroom.
Did you fall in?
Dev, I think you're muted.
Oh, are you? That's even funnier.
Just a second.
Hit the mute button in the shower.
Sometimes
Why
it
would
takes
they
a
need
while. He has to sometimes he has to sing a song, you know, just to
But you can sing it at the top of your lung and nobody hears.
Where's the mute button and the bathroom mute button? I'm sure they have one.
So, wow.
Why is this not an actual thing?
I feel like there's a bathroom mute button and also like a fan. So it's like
Mute button would be great.
right. I'm just,
Every Apple, look into
Yeah,
it.
you work on that. Yeah.
While Dev is in the shower, Dev let slip last time that one of his vices, one of the things that titillates him the most, are books. And I know she's got a book in here.
Oh, she
They
does.
like-
She probably definitely has a stash of a couple actual paper books. But you would know, Hanovi, more importantly, there is a true library. It's more called an archive, but there is an archive on this vessel. And they would have a large selection of a larger selection. And how much of this party, have you ever heard of this party before or been to it, Hanovi? I think you'd be probably the only one. Maybe Janice.
I mean, maybe I've been to it, but I don't think that I would have rubbed elbows with elite there.
Yeah, you
might have been one of
know-
those fish out of water. I've been once. and
Yeah. So the great thing about this party is there's something for everyone. There's dancing if you want to dance. There's, drinking if you want to drink. There's the cigar bars and level 34 for droids and all of the above. And then there's a group of people who choose not to party like everyone else does. It's kind of, as you would call, the wallflowers. They do gather to read books and to share stories and to do silly things like that in place. This is their version of a gathering. This is more like a convention than it probably is anything, but it's a giant 2-day, 48-hour festival, we'll call it, aboard this vessel. So you could you look into her. She would probably have 3, maybe 4 bound books in somewhat decent condition, or you could try to help him find some aboard the ship in like a larger quantity.
It's funny you should say. My plan is to get a book here from this repository.
Okay.
And give it to Midge to give to Dev from me, because Dev will take that better, right?
Yeah, okay.
But on the inside cover, while he's still in the shower, I'm going to write. I was going to call it the Intergalactic Archive, but we're on the same page, Dot. I'm going to write about the archive.
Okay.
And close it so that he knows there's one on this station.
Cool.
Right?
Beautiful.
I'm going to close it. I'm going to hand it to Midge. I'm going to be like...
Stealing from your girlfriend? From your assassin girlfriend? Okay.
It's not stealing. She owes me at this point. Well, we owe each other. It's not stealing. Don't call it stealing.
It's love.
We can call it anything but that. Permanently borrowing. That's so funny.
But when I hand her the book, I'm going to throw the jacket over the shoulder, and I'm going to head out and try and catch up to her. Unless anybody
Yeah,
stops.
sure.
Yeah. There you go.
All right. Leaving the siblings. Anything Dev and Midge want to do before you exit as well?
Seeing that she is essentially alone in this room right now, she's not going to steal anything.
But she's gonna rub herself all over the room. She's just gonna roll over.
Like leaning up. No, like a cat, like getting
Like a cat.
No, she is just gonna. She has never been in this kind of splendor in her entire life. Her ship is the most expensive thing she owns, and she doesn't even really own that.
Technically.
Not yet. She is gonna like put nothing really that needs doing. She's gonna push buttons on the closet and just kind of go through, walk through, run her hands through all the silk robes.
They're silky.
Throw shoes out. Like, how do you have how? Like, is she even real? And then admire herself in the mirror for like a solid 3 minutes.
Yeah. Dev, when you come out, your sister's looking at herself in the mirror. The place has got clothes all over. It now looks like a teenage girl's bedroom.
And Dev is looking put together, right? His suit looks really great. He, however, looks a little bit pale and shaky. And he just sort of comes out.
Got the Betty Grable pose going on, like over the shoulder. Like, that looks good.
You look really great, Midge.
Oh, thanks. Oh, I got a present for you.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, open it up.
Yeah.
It's over there.
She hands you a book. It's very worn. To keep its structure, it has been rebound. There are some lost letters along the front. In the rebinding, there was clearly a word that was not carried through. This looks to be an Earth book. And it says the blank guide to the galaxy.
Oh.
And there's a message in the front of it from Hanovi. Hanovi, what does the message say?
You muted, my
you're
dear.
muted. I really wanted to know. I was like,
We're bad about
It would say, just a taste of things. Look for the archive here on Titanus. H, or hide.
hide. Yeah, nice.
And it's written in that ink that's easy to like laser erase so it doesn't ruin the book.
Laser
Oh.
erase.
Yep.
Love it. Magnet. It's probably magnet ink. You can just pull it off the page or something cool.
Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah. Yeah. They have, I mean, you guys, they have like magnetic eyeliner now for eyelashes. So I feel like, oh yeah, you like, it's like magnet eyeliner and then the eyelash versus glue it just like right to the,
I'm sure that's
amazing.
super healthy.
It's probably not, but the ink is probably just like that. And you clear it right off the page if you feel the need. But you've been given a book, kind of thick, like I said, rebound. The binding is a lot more futuristic than probably the internal pages, which are very old. The ink is very faded, and the pages seem very thin.
And he just takes the book, and, you know, Teddy's sort of like just hovering over, and he sits down on one of the chairs, and he just starts to cry.
Don't cry.
Aw. And as you say that, the camera pans out, up the empty tunnel to the upper floor, where we catch just the end of Hanovi walking out. The camera through to Janice. Janice, where have you found yourself amidst this giant party?
Right, well, he probably would have pulled up to some corner of a bar and leaning on it, found the most intoxicating beverage that he could find, and he'd already, you know, reached out via communique to try and get in touch with his contact, and is just awaiting their arrival.
You sit, it's quite a splendor. Most of the bars are going to be in what's known as the main floor. It's extraordinary. It's like if you took a hotel and like the central of like a giant Marriott and exploded it. You can see all the way up the space station to the upper floors that overlook what seem to be floating tiers of different means of entertainment. There's a casino. There seems to be some kind of zoo. You could hear the animals, and each one is kind of encapsulated in its own little dome, and they float above one another. And people have to jump shuttles from the individual floors over to the entertainment districts of your choosing. The lower floor is basically just bars. There are going to be probably a few various forms of sexual entertainment of varying parts and bits, alien odds and ends, tentacles in one of them, droids in another, everything to suit everybody's need. And then there's some very odd pleasures as well, but most importantly there is a large creature, multi kind of tentacled creature that sits in the center, and people seem to be inhaling something from it that seems to be getting them high, and they blow out these bubbles that they inhale from this creature. The kind of gooey monstrosity just sits there willingly as people suck and blow bubbles out of their mouth.
Right, yeah, I seen one of those before. It's a hookah beast. They're quite common on more of the affluent space stations.
Oh, the ancient hookah beast.
Yep.
I love sci-fi. Okay, so yeah, you kind of sit. You've been served whatever drink of your choosing. There's an odd guild fellow behind the bar. He has some kind of mechanism that filters the water through his gills. And sure enough, a woman takes seat next to you. This is who you expected to see, but not as you expected to see her. She looks great. She's well dressed. The dress she wears is not quite as long. It's more of a cocktail dress. It fits tightly around her body. And you can see that there seems to be some piece of circuitry that runs up and through this strapless tube dress that she wears. She pulls up at the bar and sits down, puts her hand. She doesn't even look at you. And she says, "Why did you have to call tonight?"
First and foremost, love, holy shit, Aura, you shine up better than I do, to be honest. Yeah, I don't really know how to handle it.
I would say thank you, but I can't decide if it's a compliment or not, Janice.
Well, you know, it's hard to exceed my good looks, but you know, you've done quite well for yourself. We'll phrase it that way.
What do you want, Janice?
Well, you know, I have a bit of a tendency to get in a wee bit of trouble with my crews, and well, evidently there's been an occurrence, so to speak, between.
You mean the fact that they're celebrating the fact you shot a colonel in the face?
Yeah, it's a bit odd.
You are all the talk, Janice. Which is why I'm surprised that you're here.
Well, you know, it wasn't really a decision or ship had to bring something per a specific mission, and we completed that, and now it's a bit of time for a few bevies. And I thought I would reach out and touch base with you to find out a wee bit of information, because through our travels, we stumbled across some very interesting things. The first and foremost being what evidently has been explained to us as a fake assassin guild's contract to.
She looks around. Did anybody fucking hear that? Okay.
Right, so who's really going to take umbrage with the hero of the Purloin Guild? So, anyway.
So, Janice, I'm to understand. You came all the way here to tell me your name is on a very profane, and she kind of puts that in quotations, another word for assassin, contract. After you shot a colonel in the face aboard a military ship, you're being celebrated as a hero for doing so, and you've come here to ask me what?
So, point of clarification there. My name was on it before I shot the colonel. So, there's something going on a bit in the background, that's what I'm trying to figure out, because really, I don't want to see anything come of my latest crew, because I feel a bit shit about what happened to the last one. Because, well, you know how things
feel
went.
bad about what happened to your last crew, Janice. Are those feelings?
Men think with their you know what, and I kind of thought with my you know what for too fucking long.
She realizes it's going to be a long conversation. She raises her hand to the bartender and gestures for two. This bartender clearly knows her. He brings over 2 drinks. Janice, in this is a glass of some kind of dark alcohol, and in it squirms a large grub of some kind. Green and thick in nature, about 2 inches around at its widest point. She reaches into the drink, pulls the slug out, it kind of slithers in her hands. She takes the shot, and then she squeezes the grub direct into her mouth. It pops like a tube of toothpaste right in, and she sit down.
Right, so I do the same, and I mean, you know what went on with me and Rin. It's just, it's just I didn't really let the impact of that seep in, and now here I am with this new crew, and well, it's just
Janice, I've never seen you attach yourself to a crew.
I fucking like him, alright? I don't want to say it. Well, Hanovi guy, he's a bit odd, but, he's starting to grow. We shared a drink, so that
I have the number for a great psychologist. If you want me to give you some information, I don't work for free, Janice.
Well, you know what? Yeah, of course. We've known each other for how long? And he reaches into his jacket and he pulls out this sort of holding it under the table. I've got this crystal.
She coughs. Jesus, Janice, where did you get that?
Well, like I said, things happen. Things blow up. You stumble across something, and here it is.
Jesus, Janice, I'll tell you just about anything you want to know for that. Does your crew know you have that?
Hell no. Of course not.
So you come to me spilling your guts about how you care about them.
It's cracked.
Right. Right.
No, he gave me the cracked one. I think.
Did he?
Oh, right. Yes.
Yeah,
right,
this is the nice one.
This is a nice one. I hate to pot with it, but I think there's just a lot more going on in regards to things with the Purloin Guild and the guild that shall not be named. And what
do you want for that, Janice?
Well, to be honest, if I lose another crew, who knows what the hell the Purloin Guild will do to me.
Looks like they're gonna congratulate you.
Yeah, don't believe it for an instant. It's just, that sets off my bullshit radar. You know how I work. But, just kind of find out whatever you can about this fake assassin guild's contract. Oh, sorry. Guild it shall not be named. And see if you can see if this quote-unquote we want to reward you is legitimate or not, or whether or not we might be getting led into a trap, and if so, by who.
It's a lot of information. I'm gonna
Just
have
the
to
basics.
miss.
Yeah, it's a big fucking crystal, love.
I'm gonna have to miss the party.
Right. But think about the party you could throw with this fucking crystal.
Where did you get it? Is it dirty?
No. It was a, it was floating in space, sort of.
I'm sorry. Can we just... She just puts her finger over your lips. It smells like whatever grub she just squeezed into her face.
That's quite tasty, but all right.
You're telling me you found a tin cred fuel prism floating in space?
Well, it might have possibly...
You are not that lucky, Janice.
Oh, I beg to differ. It might have possibly sort of fell out of a ship, kind of like into my hand.
Fell out of a ship. She knows that gravity does not work that way.
Floated.
How about this? I'm gonna take that crystal, and I'm gonna find out whatever information you want. Where are you staying? How do I get it to you?
Right. Well, we're docked here, and we're currently. We haven't really thought about accommodations.
Nobody needs accommodations when the masquerade starts.
No. Well, I'll be floating around here, and you know me. I'm at the bar usually, and I do need to track down this little sort of squirmy fellow. Later on, you'll see him. He's got like a coat dress type of thing on. Have to have a little wee bit of a chat with him. He'll be holding a teddy bear. Don't even ask. I can't explain it myself.
She goes, I don't even know what a teddy bear is.
Right, exactly. And I'll be with him having a chit chat, and just come see me then.
Mm-hmm. Right. She, under the table, grabs the crystal. It's too large to fit into her handbag. You watch as she suddenly slips it up her dress. You don't know where she's put it, but she does manage to kind of like slip it into maybe her underwear. You're unsure. It disappears.
Fucking shit, that's impressive.
Bye, Janice.
Right. Thank you, Aura. As always, a pleasure.
She swaggers off, her short dress and short hair swaying to kind of together. And you're left sitting at the bar drinking. The exterior skin of the grub that she inhaled and the empty glass lay next to you as almost a metaphor for what she took from you. And the camera pans down a hallway to Hanovi, who is currently seeking Aya, right?
Mm-hmm.
She deals in a certain kind of business. She is technically an assassin, but most of what she does is thief. She's a thief, and she's a really, really, really good one because she can get in and out of places without being seen. So she's going to be with the most wealthy people, and in a place where she wouldn't be noticed, which probably means the actual masquerade dance itself, which does require a mask.
Okay. Well, usually at masquerade balls, there are people selling masks.
Yes, they would have some available if you wanted to choose. Oh, for sure.
Yeah, we do finally have actual creds, so it shouldn't be that hard for me to just...
Nope.
So I'll do that.
All right, yeah, you walk up. They have a slew kind of options. If there's anything in particular you seek, if not, there are some pretty simple choices. But as you enter the masquerade, and you slip your mask on. Everybody here obviously wears one, but everybody is very fancy. It's somewhere between kind of a Victorian mix and this like Jetsons space theme. There are astral rings that hang from dresses. Everything is neon. Daft Punk all but plays the music, and people dance and sway and grind up on one another in a very blue lit space. The upper floors of this area overlook the dance floor, which is very active, and there seem to be probably chairs and couches and tables and things in the upper floors for people that simply want to partake in a different kind of partying.
So I'm pretty sure that she'll see and find me. So I will mingle and get a water from somewhere and just kind of walk about. And if anything that kind of starts playing catches my fancy, I will dance. Novi partakes in that sort of stuff.
Oh, really? That's fun.
Yes. He will ask some woman in a very nice, extravagant gown if she would like to dance with him.
Oh, interesting. Okay. All right, we got some bits coming in. I'm getting those together. Sorry, we're getting a strange lag. More bits, more bits. Let me make sure that that's updated. Okay, so you kind of have a seat. A few people make eyes at you, and you kind of waited out. The music is definitely hopping, and as you begin to kind of meander your way towards the floor, you feel that hand on your shoulder, and she says, "You weren't going to dance without me, were you?"
If I were lucky, no.
She
and he
kind
just
of
kind of smiles into the mask.
Yeah, she smiles too. You know it's definitely her. There's no doubt about it. Her mask is made of black lace, and it stands kind of out from her face, making her ever taller. And you take to the dance floor and dance. I'm interested to know, it's not really, you can sway to your own groove, but I'm wondering, I just have to look and see here. She's very dexterous, and she kind of slithers in and out as you...
Slithers?
Yeah, that's the best way I can say it. She kind of like slithers around your body.
Glide is a word.
Glide is a better word.
Slither
Glide,
much better.
I would say glide is what she does, her feet do on the floor to make it seem as if she slithers around your body. More love. Thank you for those follows. So... as you dance, she lets you lead. What, for my knowledge, do you talk to her about on the dance floor?
So
Anything?
I have this impression, right, that we are very work-centric people, unless we're together and alone. And then it's like just talking about gossip and talking about what kind of fine wine they've tried and all this other bougie shit.
Okay.
And I'm imagining that's kind of what they talk about. And eventually it'll kind of get back onto the new crew because that's her first time meeting them. And just kind of like general impressions and shit like that.
Okay, so she laughs. You probably dip her at one point, her head almost bending over backwards to the floor. She's extremely limber, and she seems to be having a good time. And at one point, her demeanor shifts, and she says, we could continue talking about fine wine. But Hanover, I have to tell you. Oh my goodness, thank you. I am very worried. Janice didn't shoot the colonel because he was a threat, did he?
No. It was an overreaction. Trauma, in a way.
That's understandable. I hate that. You were quite fond of Plume.
I imagine when she says the name, we kind of stop dancing, and I take her hand and kind of walk out of the crowd, Everyone's like doing different salsas and the
Yeah.
raves.
Some
Oh,
people
they-
are like floating. They're on like hover pads. It's very strange.
The Commander Shepherd Shuffle.
Yes, the Commander Shepherd Shuffle. You guys walk over to. She leads you up a flight of stairs, and you guys take what is basically a VIP booth that has been marked for her. It's a corner booth. It's very secluded. She kind of waves her hand, and she says, "I never come to one of these without renting a booth."
He nods.
And she says, "So, I guess I am concerned, Hanavi.
What about?
If it is true, what you say, then you were probably set up to deliver a virus to the military computer aboard the largest space station in the galaxy. At least from my knowledge, it was not the assassins, which means we have a mutual enemy. Because if they are replicating assassins' contracts and trying to make the Purloin Code think it is us, then we are in as much danger as you are."
The reverse is also true if they're pitting you against Purloin Guild members. Who is a common enemy of the assassins, or the Void Wards, and the Purloin Guild at the same time?
I do not know of any.
Nor do I.
If it's somebody new, we could be in more trouble, and to be able to do something like that. Did you spend some time with this hard drive?
A little. Not enough, I fear. We didn't detect a virus on it at all, though it has to be fairly sophisticated.
So it waited. It was like a sleeper until it was in the right computer. That
It
is-
may have been doing it for months, we don't know. What are the chances that raiders attack us, we kill them, and find the hard drive, and return it,
does seem very...
and install it, all without finding a virus? I think it was a shot in the dark that paid off. Probably one of many.
You're probably right, which means they may have set multiple traps for multiple crews. See, you're not so special as you thought, Hanabi. She kind of boops you on the nose with her long finger in a kind of flirtatious way. It will be very difficult for me to bring this topic to my employer.
I think that it might be easier for you to bring the topic to your employer if you simply do so to cover the guild's ass, and not as a favor to me or for yourself. You don't want to get mixed up in Purloin Guild business if this kind of thing is floating around space.
You're right. I do have
And
a copy
we-
of it. The contract.
Yes.
It's something.
And we will try to track down whoever made or manufactured or spread this virus. We'll tear it apart as best we can while we're in space and not connected to anything important.
Okay. This is probably a good plan. Alright. Well, then... I will probably leave before the night is out. I need to take this information home, is all she says.
He nods. And he says, "We have to make repairs, but I don't know how long that'll be. And when that's done, I'm not sure how long it'll take us to do." And he kind of gestures like all of this.
Mm-hmm.
And when he's done gesturing, he just kind of grabs her hand in the adjacent chair and holds it.
She
And he's
squeezes,
like-
yeah, she squeezes back.
And he's like, "I do miss you, you know."
I know. I miss you too, Hanovi. And those quiet moments floating in space. Makes an alien think, you know.
He chuckles like aloud at the comment alien because he knows she hates it and only
Yeah.
uses it like playfully.
Yeah, exactly. I will take this information, be in contact. I have a suggestion, and you can take it for what you want. There may be somebody that can answer these questions and tell you where this hard drive, its genesis point, where it came from, who created it, or maybe what group this is. I will do what I can on my end, but this man, he is... will not be easy to get to him.
Nothing worth it's ever easy.
He's a brilliant hacker, mechanic, I guess you could say. He can track anything, given the right amount of time and correct tools. He's currently a prisoner. He's a prisoner on a small asteroid. It is currently the base of a large raider colony. The military has it marked for clearance, meaning to be cleared, and they hold him there. He's ransom. You could recover him, and he may be able to lead you to all the answers that you seek.
What's the name and how much is the ransom?
She kind of laughs. She says, even the government is not willing to pay the ransom. He's been there 6 months. Nobody actually knows if he is alive anymore. Here's what I will do. And you see, she kind of removes her hand from yours and she reaches under the table, brushing across your leg, up hers, pulling her skirt up again to show the HUD deck that is attached to her leg. She kind of boops some things in it without even looking. And a small card pops out of it. She passes it over to you and she says, this will give you access to the security house we were in earlier. More importantly, when inserted into the HUD computer inside of that place, it will give you all the information you need on the man. I fear that if I speak too much, the wrong ears may hear.
He takes it and slides it into the pocket on the inside of his vest under his jacket. Nice little secure one. And he nods. And he says, maybe just one more dance before you go.
I'd love nothing more.
And they get up and start walking.
And hit the floor. The camera pans up and over the large Masquerade dance floor, showing the vast span of this space station, the luxury of it all, as it goes down each of the floors. You see the zoo, you see the archive of books and snazzy men with cigars sitting around drinking dark drinks and talking old literature. It pans down another floor. This seems to be a casino, then a brothel of some kind, as it cuts through and down. Back to the safe house where we left Midge and Dev. And Midge, you look at your brother crying in this moment, and it reminds you of something of your past, a moment where you found your brother crying. Both of you come from military backgrounds. And that moment when he came to you asking, how do I get out of the military, plays in your mind.
Simultaneously, I think it was the most scared I'd ever seen him, and probably the most worried I'd ever been. You okay?
Oh, what a sisterly thing to say. That's what I tell my brother.
Midge, if we were set up, we just killed a man who didn't do anything at all.
Yeah, well. Wish I could say something to you, buddy. Yeah, admittedly, neither of us really killed the guy, but Doesn't really matter in the long scheme of things. We got ourselves into some shit, didn't we?
What are we supposed to do? Janice just killed him.
I tried talking to him. He seems to have it in his head that what he did was right. I don't know. I don't know about him.
I just keep thinking about it. Midge, I just keep thinking about it. I can't get that moment out of my mind, and I try, and then something will happen and it'll be in my mind again, and I'll keep thinking about it. I just keep thinking about that moment.
Yeah, me too. You know the old saying Mom used to say all the time? The thing about, like, I don't know, the rain when it's shining and whatever. I don't know. We're just gonna have to. We're in this together, you know, you and me. And I know we got Janice, and we know we've got Hennevy and all them. They're fine, but I really I could do without them. I miss those days when it's just you and me, you know, like eating 8 bags of Cheetos in one day. It was pretty good.
Every once in a while, like, I don't know, we might get a piece of fruit. Like once.
Who needs it? Leafy greens? God, who needs them?
But when you only get them once every 3 months, it's kind of nice to get them.
If you say so. If you say so. Whatever you want. If you want the fruit, you get the fruit. But no, what I'm saying is, I'm not good at this motivational thing. I'll look out for you. Don't worry. It's you and me. I'm gonna kind of put my forehead to yours, and it's like, it's you and me. I got you.
And Dev, when she puts her head against yours, in your mind, you have a moment of a flashback, a memory of that skin against skin, but it's not your sister's. It's another soldier, a boy from your crew, headbutting you in the face as you hit the ground. 3 of them, large, triplets in fact, sent from the same colony family off of a mining crater, stand over you, clearly showing their dominance. They are not human. They have kind of a bluish colored gray skin. They bulge around the neck and shoulders, their waists much tinier, making them look like a wedge, and their gruff faces constantly sit with these deep, wrinkly lines. And after he's headbutted you, being much, much larger, you find yourself in the dirt. You stand up!
And Dev, having been knocked down 3 or 4 times already in the last 5 minutes, stands back up again.
He looks over, like, clearly, like, surprised that you got up again. And he's like, I don't actually mean it, you idiot. They said you were smart.
Why do you have to do this?
He looks at, his 2 brothers. Do what?
We're on the same team. We're supposed to be on the same team.
So? He kind of backs up, and you hear the sound of clicking heels coming down the hallway, being in the barracks. You know this to be your sergeant. And the boys, like, scramble and hit kind of a pose and salute as he enters. And he says, all right, boys. This gentleman
wipes the blood off of his face.
Yeah, off your forehead. It's swelling in that one place where they had headbutted you a couple times. And this gentleman has kind of this strange, like, catfish-style face. He has these long whiskers that come down. He wears the military uniform, and he says, all right, boys. Today, you get to show us what you're made of. You're about to go down onto a planet's surface. Anybody, have you ever been to a surface before? Don't answer that question. It was rhetorical. He yells at one boy who kind of started to raise his hand. And he says, when you get down there, you're to enter this here village. And he snaps and a HUD screen pops up. Upon entry, you will find there are 2 prisoners in this here building. He points. The rest of this facility is completely and 100% raiders. You are to kill everything in sight, and when you are done and return with the prisoners, you will earn your stripes.
Sergeant, from
Billy
those
turns very quickly.
from those photographs, not all of those raiders are armed.
Doesn't matter, boy. It's not about them being armed. They're raiders. President said no raiders in these parts. You know that.
Sergeant, we have rules of engagement, and I don't think this follows protocol.
Protocol? Who are you to talk protocol to me, boy? He kind of like yells in your face. He spits what seems to be some kind of salty water, probably from sacs in his throat where he holds it. And he says, your orders are to hit the planet's surface, to kill all the raiders and return the 2 prisoners. Do you have a problem with that, Wallflower?
Sergeant, we're supposed to follow protocol. Those aren't the rules of engagement for this sector.
A couple, the 3 twins like look at one another like, holy crap, or the triplets, everybody else is kind of like under their breath. He stomps his foot, ringing out, and he says, I gave you a direct order.
Yes, Sergeant, but we're not allowed to follow illegal orders.
Are you telling me you're not going to do what I told you to do?
We're not allowed to follow illegal orders, Sergeant.
I see. Well, looks like old Wallflower here, and he kind of puts his arm around you, has decided he's not going on the mission, boys. The rest of you, grab your gear, load up. Wallflower, you stay with me. I've got a more suitable job for you.
Yes, Sergeant.
The rest of the boys kind of head out. All 3 of the triplets smack you on the back of the head as they exit, like a good luck charm, as they head out to take the mission. He kind of writhes behind his teeth, and he says, follow me.
Yes, Sergeant. And Wallflower just wipes some of the rest of the blood off, trying to make himself look somewhat presentable in his uniform.
Wallflower, why did you join the military?
To fly, Sergeant.
Pilots have a great deal of respect and discipline. You are given some of the most expensive and important machinery in the galaxy under your command. It means you must listen and obey. So I want to know why you couldn't simply go do the raid with the rest of your crew.
Sergeant, I've read all of the mission briefs, I've read all of the protocols, I've read all of our engagement parameters. You're supposed to follow the rules, and you're supposed to do the right thing. And that's not the right thing, Sergeant.
I don't think you're cut out for this, Wallflower.
I'm a good pilot.
You're the best pilot I've ever seen. It doesn't make up for the fact that you don't listen. Where you come from, Dev?
You know that one mining colony out in Sector 14?
Yeah, I know the rock.
That's where I'm from.
There's a whole hell of nothing there. You want to
No.
go back to that, Dev?
No, Sergeant.
So we're in a bit of a predicament, as I see it. You don't want to go back, but you won't take the steps to move forward. Sometime in the military, you got to do what you got to do.
No, Sergeant, you're supposed to follow the rules.
If I were to follow the rules right now, I would have to take you up to the colonel. Tell him that you disobeyed direct order from your sergeant. More than likely, they'll whip you. and leave you out till morning. Naked as a jaybird. The sun will come up. You'll be so sunburned by the end of the day, boy, that you won't be able to wear clothing.
Sergeant, I beg to differ. If we went up to the colonel and I told him you gave me an illegal order, I think it would be you who'd be punished.
He laughs and he says, "Who do you think I take my orders from?"
But it's against protocol, Sergeant. We're supposed to be the good guys.
All right, the good guys. How much of this galaxy have you seen?
Not much, Sergeant.
Fresh. That's what I thought. Nothing exists in black and white. There is no good and no bad. There is only gray. We can do our best to maintain peace and order. And a colony of raiders holding 2 prisoners seems like a right fine reason to blow off some ammo.
You're not supposed to blow off ammo for fun, Sergeant. We're supposed to do the right thing.
So what would you do? A woman and a child, a politician's wife and daughter, in fact, being held by a raider colony. What would you do if you were calling the orders, Dev?
Well, engagement protocol says that we're not supposed to fire first. We're supposed to, and not fire on unarmed people. So if they were armed, then we could fire back. But we can't just go in and just slaughter people. Those raiders also have women and children. I looked. This is a raider base, but it's full of, I don't know what you'd call them, but raider civilians, non-combatants.
You ask a lot of questions, Dev. Soldiers take orders. So here's what's about to happen. He kind of walks you out and down to an open area where you know to be the latrines for the barracks. He hands you a small brush, no gloves, and a spray bottle. That there's salt water and vinegar. That's a brush. Scrub. And when the boys get back, they're going to give you a good beating, just so you can learn your lesson. Maybe next time you'll take your orders. I can't
Yes.
negotiate the orders, Dev. Neither can the colonel. We take orders from the president. All of us.
Sergeant, it's your job to take care of the troops.
You're not a trooper yet. And he smacks you on the back because you haven't earned your stripes, and you know it. And he smacks you on the back, and he points to the latrines, which are in a god-awful shape. And he says, so start scrubbing. They'll be back in 2 hours. And he kind of leaves, and that point on your head throbs, ripping you out of that moment back to the forehead of your sister, as the two of you sit there in a beautiful sibling moment, trying to contend with both of your histories. The camera pans out over this space station. We see Janus at the bar drinking by himself, having just made a deal with a woman, with the only valuable thing he probably has to his name. Hanovi and Aya dance on the floor, mixed in with the bodies of other creatures throughout the galaxy, in a moment of ecstasy and joy, and what could possibly be the last time they dance together, for who knows how long. And that final picture of the two siblings that hold one another, trying to contend with the actions that they have taken, the things that they have done, and what they may have to do as they continue forward to answer who set them up, why both the Assassins and the Purloin Guild are involved, if at all, and what does it mean to be considered space heroes for slaughtering a colonel who did nothing wrong. And that is where we're going to end today's game of the Purloin Code.
Yay, we did it!
Yay! You have some information? Yeah. All right, cool. Nice. Very nicely done. I definitely don't want us to go over. So we'll go around. This was a really interesting episode. I spent a lot more time with Aya than I think. You guys asked her a lot of questions, which was cool. And
She's amazing.
And trusted her with some information.
She's only
which
one of my most favorite NPCs I've ever played in the game ever.
So, well, I'm glad to know that because I was like, she's really sassy. They're either gonna love her or hate
Gold
her.
is what she is.
So let's go around. You guys tell us who you are, where we can find you online when you're not playing these amazing characters in space, and more importantly, what was interesting to you about tonight's episode, whether from your perspective, a character perspective. What was added to the story for you in today's game? And we'll actually start with Trooper. I'm gonna go bottoms up. Trooper, tell us who you are and where we can find you online, friend.
Me?
Yeah,
Oh, I am. I'm over there in that little corner.
you're in the corner.
Hi. I'm Trooper SJP, and you can find me at Academic Foxhole on Twitter and at Trooper SJP here on Twitch. That's where we are. Where I stream story-heavy video games and get really distracted from playing them by all of the chat in the chat. Like that is
Oh, the chat in the chat.
that is what happens. Oh, I was just thinking about. I was just like, this was such an episode for me, and I was thinking about all of the ways in which all of these characters have feelings for other characters on the crew, and can't tell them. like I'm just like thinking about our inability to be vulnerable with each other, right? In this sort of like really interesting way, the ways in which Janice has these like feelings for the crew, but he can't tell us,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And that Hanovi also has these feelings, but he can't tell us. And the ways in which, Dev was having a freak out because there was this discussion about the colonel being killed, but he had to go to the bathroom because he couldn't do it in front of everyone else, right? And just the ways in which all of us, right? And that, like, there's something really beautiful about the sort of the connections that we have towards each other, but the way that we just can't be vulnerable with each other yet.
Right.
Just our care for each other. That was great.
I'm glad you thought it was great. I thought it was great. I quite enjoyed it. Yep, I dropped some links there in chat, so make sure to click and follow Trooper there so you can catch all the many things. We did a very interesting, long-winded interview the other day over on his channel where we sat around and we chatted about tabletop RPGs for like 3 hours, you guys. So go check out his channel. I'm sure there's a VOD there somewhere. I told all my dirty, dark secrets, and we recited Shakespeare. It got intense. So if you want to see that, there's only one place on the internet you're going to get that. And that's over on Trooper's Twitch channel.
And there are secrets.
There are secrets. There are secrets that I'd revealed. Moving right along over to Jason. Jason, tell us who you are and where we can find you online, and your thoughts about today's game and your character.
Yeah, so Jason T, D&D DM. Find me talking all things TTRPGs on Twitter. Tonight was interesting. Very much a bit of an epiphany sort of episode for him. The realization that he might actually give a shit about somebody other than himself. But I don't know. He's feeling a bit protective, I guess, of Dev at the moment. So that's really kind of where all this stems from. But yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what information Aura brings back to him in regards to what's been going on behind the scenes.
I was about to say, and she never fails you.
Correct.
She always comes through with some kind of information. You just gotta be patient. She's also a fun character. She's a bit more gruff. I was like, I have to think of somebody that Janice would talk to. And he's not going to be able to talk to just any woman specifically, especially not an information stealer. She's going to have to be a little rough around the edges. And that's probably why Janice likes her, because she's a no bullshit kind of lady. Like, I just saw her, like, bobbed haircut. She comes in this, like, 90s, like, tight tube dress. She's, like, there to party, but she's also, she does not take shit off anyone. So that was a very cool character. I'm glad you wanted to meet with her. And that was a really great way to bring in a character off your sheet, too. And I'm proud of you for getting rid of your treasure. You traded something for valuable information for the group. I think Janice grew tonight. It was really, really interesting to see that kind of happen. So yeah, very cool, very cool. And
just one quick thing.
Yeah.
I do have a one-shot show coming up on Mini Terrain Domain that is going to be called the Sword of Damocles. It's a mecha hack one-shot.
Ooh.
And it's going to be Wednesday, July 31st at 8:30 p.m. Eastern.
Very nice, very nice. That like a lot of fun. Adelaide.
Yes, that's me.
That is you.
Yeah, I had a fucking blast today, as usual. Midge is not really the feelsy kind of gal, and she's juggling a lot of plates at the moment, and is kind of struggling to figure out exactly how to manage all of that, I think. But she was impressed. And as well was very impressed with Hanovi and his very openness.
Sometimes it just takes the right lady.
Sometimes she's a
The right
firecracker.
setting. Not being on a derelict spaceship.
Hurtling through space. And oh my gosh, the scene between Deb and Sam is so cute. I'm Adelaide. You can find me on Adelaide on Twitter. I am in several D&D shows, this one including. I play in Capricorn Cross's Casgardis game on Fridays at that's gonna be 1 EST, I believe. I just moved, so my time zones are fucked. And I'm also going to be in a new game on Friday on Go_JG's channel, which is going to be the what system is it? Something, a different system that I've ever played before. Very high fantasy, fae, wild kind of races. Yeah, super fun. So I'm deciding what character. We got our session 0 on Friday, so super hyped. And I also run a Discord called Dungeons and Dragons. Taverns and Dragons. That's essentially like a looking for group Reddit. No streamed games, just all in the Discord.
Okay.
So that's on my Twitter, on my Twitch. Not on my Twitch. What am I? I just moved 12 hours yesterday. I have lost my.
You're
mind.
a trooper, is what I'm hearing. Like a straight up trooper.
I'm the trooper.
You're the trooper.
Not yet, sir.
Oh no, not yet.
So that's me on the internet.
Alrighty then. And last but certainly not least, the charming and the character we saw a lot of tonight. JV, tell us a little about you, where we can find you online, and what you thought of tonight's game.
Hi, I speak much more slowly than my counterparts. You can find me on Twitter at DropTheDie, where I really need you to follow me, because boy, that number's getting low, and that makes me sad. I've lost like 98 followers this month, just randomly.
You know what? I'm having that issue. It's just like ever flowing. There's some kind of algorithm that
Yeah, they unfollow randomly, but it still vexes me.
Yeah, it makes me so mad.
You can find me mostly on Twitter and Facebook. I also publish a lot of PDFs on the DMs Guild. I'm a best-selling author there. Soon I'm going to be releasing my Taverns, Inns, and Tap Rooms. It's just hit about 70 pages, so this dude's
wow.
You can also find me guest starring on podcasts lately. Apparently, I'm the unofficial official guest star
Love
for podcasts.
that. That's awesome.
Including the Not Quite Heroes podcast. It should be next week or the week after my first appearance, and it is a doozy.
Cool.
And I hope you pick that character out. So, yeah. Come find me and get dice and stuff. It's awesome.
Yeah, very nice.
And today, my favorite part was the iceberg effect, where we only know the little itty bitty bit about each of these characters, and the characters do too, because we haven't talked about it a whole lot off of stream until today. And so kind of seeing just a little bit more of that iceberg each week kind of builds just how much effort we've all put into these characters. And I think that that's what makes it so impressive, is because that's how people really work.
Yeah. Yeah, for
I was
sure.
best friends with a guy for like 4 years. I didn't even know his last name.
Wow.
Sometimes that's just how it happens.
Yeah, and especially when you do work in a place where you still, even though it's legal what you're doing, have to be a little wary of the people
Cautious.
that you cautious, and that caution over time just probably wears on you and makes being vulnerable very difficult. I thought today's episode was great. I know we didn't do a whole lot of rolling, but in terms of you guys all, I think everybody one roll. Yeah, I think it was like one roll, but you guys actually did pretty much everybody, but I think Midge managed to give into their vice at least a little bit. And Midge is going to get plenty of that. Well, if she chooses to.
Oh,
gamble.
I'm sure. If we go off.
Yeah, I was going to say there will be opportunity for it. There are some interesting things, but this was a very heavy roleplay episode. Which is really interesting because you all guys are set up next game for a heist if you want to go save this hacker. So we'll get like the true Scum and Villainy piece. But today's game wasn't really supposed to happen. I was going to be out of town. And since it did, I was like, let's make this an RP game. Let's learn everything we can about these characters. Let's get this kind of richness there. So these last two, which will come up in the next 2 Tuesdays here, 8 o'clock through the month of July. And I'm really excited. It's almost like it's like that moment in Serenity where they all, in that like first episode where Kaylee gets shot and everybody steps up. It was like that moment where everybody levels with one another and you're like, we have to do something because we all care about this person and we all care about this thing, and there's kind of this like interesting piece that's everybody's beginning to like revolve around, and it's tying
I'm gonna get
together.
shot. Are you saying I'm gonna get shot?
It's also kind of important. People that haven't played Scum and Villainy, the reason why this episode was still a smashing success is the roles don't particularly matter. You get XP for character development.
Correct.
So,
Correct.
all these secrets that we
rolled once this game, right? Yeah, just me. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I'm reading chat here. Yeah. Oh, so yeah.
I'm excited when Dev finds out that they're gonna go and raid a raider base to rescue some prisoners.
I did that on purpose.
So good.
I did that on purpose. Yeah. I'm Little Red Dot Gang. I was the GM for this. I'm in love with the Scum and Villainy game, and I love most of everything that Evil Hat puts out. You'll see a lot of that here on my channel, but if you want to learn more about what I do, make sure to follow me on social. Or follow the channel here. It doesn't cost you anything to do so, and you'll always know when we go live, so you don't miss a moment of the next round and session of the Purloin code. But here's some social media links for you, and more importantly, if you're not really a social person, that's cool. We have a bitchin' Discord called the Dot Lot, where all of us hang out, we chat about the shows, we chat about other random things. There's a void you can scream into on those really horrible days, or sometimes you just need to celebrate, and you need somebody to do it with, and the void is always there to listen. So I encourage you, come join the community. And speaking of community, we're having a community meetup. For those of you headed to Gen Con, if you want to come out, we're having a meetup called the Dot Con, which is basically we're going to gather at a tavern, as all good adventurers do, share drinks and stories, and get to meet each other in person. It should be a hell of a lot of fun and a lot of fellowship. So I encourage you to come out. And yeah, until next week, I want to thank everyone who dumped those bits in. Every dime that you put into the show to help fill that meter goes back to the cast. So you guys are helping make it possible to have these amazing role players on here who tell these awesome stories. So thank you. Yeah, we'll see you, let's see, here on the channel Sunday, in fact. We have Owl of Lycia this week here on Sunday, 5 p.m. to 8. That's our Cypher System game ran by Marcy Vellon. It's amazing. We had one of my favorite roleplay moments I've had in the last probably year with her on the last game. Was just like so moved by it. So drop by, check that out. It's high fantasy in a world that she's created, and I'm just in love with it. So plus my character has a shell. It's fun. I collect things. It's great. Awesome. Until we see all of you again next Tuesday right here on the Dot Lot for more Scum and Villainy. Have a good week, everybody. Bye.